You have popped 1,000 of these. That satisfying little sheet of plastic bubbles. It is one of the most familiar things in the world. But here is what almost nobody knows. Bubble wrap was never invented to protect your parcels. It was designed for something completely different. And it failed twice before it became one of the most loved materials on Earth. To understand why it matters, picture the world before it. For centuries, if you want to ship something fragile, a plate, a lamp, a bottle, you packed it in straw, or sawdust, or crumpled newspaper, and you hoped. Things broke constantly. There was no clean, reliable way to wrap up something delicate and trust it would survive the journey. That was the gap nobody had filled. But nobody set out to solve that. The story starts in 1957 in a small garage in Hawthorne, New Jersey. Two engineers, Alfred and Marc Chavannes, were tinkering with a machine that could seal sheets of plastic together. They were not trying to invent packaging. They were chasing a fashion trend. Their idea was this. Take two plastic shower curtains and seal them together into one textured sheet. But when they did it, a layer of air got trapped between the two, forming a grid of little bubbles. That trapped air was an accident, and it was the whole invention. Because what they were actually trying to make was wallpaper. Not any wallpaper. Bold, modern, three-dimensional plastic wallpaper, all bumps and bubbles, for the trendy living rooms of the late 1950s. They were sure it would be a hit. It was not a hit. It turns out almost nobody wants a wall covered in squishy plastic bubbles. The wallpaper flopped completely. Two inventors, a workshop full of bubbly plastic, and no customers at all. So they tried again. Maybe, they thought, all that trapped air would make good insulation. They pitched it to line the walls of greenhouses, to keep the heat in. It was a smarter idea. And it flopped too. The bubbles just would not sell. Twice now, they had tried to sell the same sheet, and twice the world had said no. Most inventions die right here, in a drawer, forgotten. But then a sealed air marketer named Frederick Bowers looked at the bubbles and asked a completely different question. Not, what can we decorate with this? But, what is this stuff actually good at? And the answer was obvious once you saw it. All those little pockets of trapped air were not a texture. They were a cushion. The very thing the shipping world had been missing. Around 1960, he found the perfect customer. IBM was about to ship its brand new computer, the 1401, a delicate, expensive machine, all the way across the country. Bowers suggested wrapping it in the bubbly plastic to protect it on the journey. It worked perfectly. The failed wallpaper had finally found its job. And the reason is simple physics. Each sealed bubble is a tiny pocket of trapped air. When something knocks the wrapped object, the air squishes and spreads the force out, soaking up the shock instead of letting it hit the fragile thing inside. Drop a bare glass, and it shatters. Wrap it in air, and it bounces. That is the whole trick. The two inventors turned their accident into a company, Sealed Air, founded in 1960. They trademarked the name we all know, bubble wrap, though it was first sold under the name AirCap. They patented the process, and slowly, it spread into every warehouse and post room in the world. And then came the part nobody designed. People could not stop popping it. Alfred Fielding's own son is said to be the very first kid to pop the bubbles, just for fun. It became a small, universal joy. There is even a Bubble Wrap Appreciation Day, the last Monday of January. One psychologist study even found that popping it can genuinely calm you down. Today, that accidental sheet is everywhere, and the company it created is worth billions of dollars. Not bad for a product that was rejected as wallpaper and then as greenhouse lining before anyone realized what it was truly for. And that is the strange little lesson of bubble wrap. It was not a failure that got fixed. It was a success, pointed at the wrong target, twice. It only worked when its inventors stopped trying to sell what they had imagined and finally asked what it was actually good at. Sometimes the invention is fine. It is the idea of what it is for that has to change. If you love the true story hiding behind things everyone thinks they know, subscribe. There is a new hand-drawn story every few days. I'm really glad you're here.